All right, welcome back, Kings and Queens, y'all. Today we are talking to Dacara Thompson. She was just 19 years old. Welcome, everybody. Welcome for those of you that are tuned in on YouTube and or Twitter. We are going to talk about this. Now, I've been following the case since they've discovered her body. But I like to wait. I like to wait because there always has to be an update, right? As you wait for more information to come in. And I just figured, you know what? They found the body. They're going to have to process the crime scene. They're going to have to go back and review the surveillance tapes and just kind of piece two and two together. So that's what I've been waiting on. And I finally feel like we have enough to be able to have a conversation and sit down and talk about it. Now, this just may be one of those conversations where we have to get real. Where we have to get real, Twitter. We have to get real, YouTube. On one side of the coin, you have a very controversial issue regarding illegal immigrants, okay? Because Hugo Hernandez-Mendez is the illegal immigrant Guatemalan that's charged in Dakara's murder. Okay. He wasn't even supposed to be here. He wasn't supposed to be here. He was arrested on DUI, driving under the influence. He was released. So people have a lot of questions. But on the flip side of that, Dacara had just turned 19 August 8th, literally a month ago. A few weeks before her death, she just turned 19, just graduated from high school. She left the house at 10 p.m., told her dad, hey, listen, I'm about to go get some gas. I'm going to be out for a little bit. I'll be back. So at the end of the day, for me, the question is, who failed her? Who failed her? Could this have been avoided? And if so, what side are you leaning on? Because on one hand, we have the immigration, right? Where people feel like Trump is doing way too much. You're immigrating. I mean, you're removing some immigrants that have been here for years and years and years. And he feels like I'm just trying to clean it up and take out the trash, not calling everyone trash. But this is one of the primary reasons that Trump is standing on business as it relates to why he is doing what he's doing. And then you have the American people that are saying, no, we don't like it. We don't want it. Leave things as is. But on the flip side of this coin, when we talk about, and not blaming her parents, but she's barely turned 19. How many of you are actually comfortable with a young girl and or a young boy being out late at night? And I think this is going to be one of those discussions where we really have to talk and peel back the different layers and really get into the complexities of it all. Because in many communities, well, let me just say, in the Black community, you're often deemed grown after you graduate from high school, right? You're deemed grown. Oh, they grown. You can kind of do what you want. I don't know. I'm torn because you are a girl or a young man. I mean, let's talk about, even if it was a young boy, you are young. There's a lot that goes on in this world late at night, number one. Number two, even if a kid is in your home and they're 18, right, or 19, Do they get to come and go as they please? That's the first question. And that's kind of what I want to, we're going to pack it. We're going to break it down, but there's just so many different dimensions of this discussion. And Dacara Thompson was a recent graduate of St. Charles High School, and she worked for a nonprofit organization in Prince George's County. She just turned 19 years old. She left her house. She left her home, according to court documents. And listen, according to the court documents that have been revealed, they said there's disturbing details in Dakara's murder case. Okay, so much so that they haven't released all of the information. And we're going to go through it. We're going to break down the timelines. We're going to talk about the timeline of her disappearance, when her family members last seen her, what was the last communication that she shared between she and her father. She was actually at her father's house. Her father and her mother they're not together, but she goes back and forth, and it's being reported that she visits her father during the summer times. We're going to talk about who Hugo Hernandez-Mendez is, how he entered the United States, how he was able to avoid being deported back to Guatemala. Why is he still here after being arrested? We're going to get reactions from the community. We're going to talk about that timeline. That is a lengthy timeline from 10 p.m. 10 p.m. She left her house at 10 p.m. Let's count. 11 p.m., midnight, 1, 2, about 3:45. For 5 hours and 45 minutes, the police have not disclosed the details of her whereabouts and or her activities. So the public is wanting to know, what was she doing? Where was she before she met her fate with Hugo? Okay. Oh, Lord, this is a lot. And then we're going to talk about your thoughts. So let's get into it. And I'm going to just run it down. And I'm going to try to bring up the little pieces of court documents that I could get based on like the Washington Post. Now, they're not available. I've gone through the system, so I am going to have to heavily rely on credible media outlets. So give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. I don't want to talk about that yet, about the family when they started to track her disappearance. Here we go. All right. I'm going to use Southern Maryland Newsnet because they seem to have a very detailed timeline, and then we can jump all over. Okay, so the Guatemala man illegally in the United States has been charged in the gruesome, y'all, they're saying gruesome murder of missing 19-year-old Dacara Thompson. Let me take a sip of my coffee. Court documents, along with Immigration and Customs Enforcement, that's ICE, statement added into article due to the Prince George's County not including these details in their press release. And that's what I was saying. Some of these details, the police department did not want us to have access to. Okay. Immigration and Customs Enforcement released the following information. Hugo Hernandez-Mendez, an illegal alien from Guatemala, has been charged with first and second-degree murder in the gruesome death of 19-year-old Dacara Thompson. ICE has issued a detainer for this criminal illegal alien, and justice will be served for this Maryland. I know y'all said Maryland, but I say Maryland, and that's could be my old Texas accent. Maryland family, okay? And this is according to Immigration and Customs Enforcement. Let's continue. Graphic details are portrayed in the court documents. I want to give a trigger warning. We're talking about real crime, true crime. So there are graphic details, okay? The suspect, identified as Hugo Rene Hernandez-Mendez, he's 35, who's illegal. He resided in Bowie, Prince George's County, Maryland, has been charged with first-degree murder and second-degree murder with additional charges pending. I want to put out a disclaimer. I know some people are stating that a second suspect has been arrested. I cannot confirm that. I've looked all over and there is no facts and or hard evidence and or records of a second suspect being arrested. Now, people could be confusing the fact that they did detain everybody in the house for questioning, but there has been no mention of arrest, okay? So I want to put that out there because I know some bloggers are reporting that, but I've yet to be able to confirm that as a fact. And I want to make sure I'm giving y'all facts, okay? Let's continue. Give me 1 second. Hold on. I done lost my place. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Right here. According to Prince George's County Police Department, officers responded to a report of a missing person on the evening of August 23rd at an apartment on Good Luck Road in Lanham. Upon making contact with the father of Dacara Thompson, he told police that his daughter had not returned home from the night before and that her phone calls were going unanswered. He stated that she last texted him to say she was going out to get gas and had been driving a white 2013 Ford Edge. Let's pause. So we can assume that she was in a house or in the apartment, maybe in her room. Maybe he was in her room. She was in the living room. You know, kids text, "Hey dad, I'm going to go out. I'm going to get some gas." Now, initially she said that she was going to go out to get gas. That was his initial report, but he did come back to add a little bit more to say that her response says, "I got the gas. I'll be out for a while and I'll see you soon." I don't know if that has anything to do with the backlash or the public's reaction to such a young girl being out so late at night, but I just want to put that disclaimer out there, okay? On August, so she left home August 22nd. August 22nd, 10 p.m., 11 p.m., midnight, we're entering into August 23rd, okay? On August 24th, family members used phone tracking technology to locate her car, which was found parked near Jasmine Terrace in Hyattsville. The car was empty. She was not in the car, and they immediately contacted the police. So it seems like there's two communications that were established. Her dad called 24 hours after her disappearance, and then 48 hours after the family began to use technology to possibly go back and backtrack. Where in the hell could she have been? They found and located her car. Then they contacted the police to say, "We found the car." 6 days later, let me make sure I'm right. August 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. 7 days later, I'm sorry. A week later, after August 24th, after finding the car, on August 31st, Maryland State Police responded to a report of a disabled vehicle along eastbound Route 50 near Annapolis, Annapolis. And while investigating the scene, troopers discovered a nude, decomposing female body down a 31-foot embankment near the South River. Let's run down the timeline. She left the house. She left the apartment August 22nd. She was in a different part of the apartment from her father. She said, "Hey, I'm going to go get gas." Okay. On the 23rd, we enter into the wee hours of the morning. I assume he went to sleep. I assume the next day he's waiting, he's calling. 9 p.m. the next day, he makes a missing persons police report. August 23rd. On the 24th, the entire family becomes frantic. They're starting to use technology to trace her last steps. They were able to locate the car. That's her car. A week later, the police department receives a separate call about an abandoned car along the freeway. They go to see what's up with that car. And as they're, checking that out, they discover or spot a decomposing female body that has been thrown, obviously, over a 31-foot embankment near the river. The woman, who was later confirmed to be Dacara Thompson, was identified through visible tattoos and jewelry, with an autopsy being conducted on September 1st. So the next day, they did an autopsy, and that was conducted by the Office of the Chief Medical Examiner, which revealed skull and facial fractures, leading investigators to expect the death would be officially ruled a homicide. Now, this is where I want to pause the conversation and just kind of include you in this and ask, because we haven't received any additional information yet. I wonder, and we're just thinking and talking out loud, could it be that the facial and the skull fractures occurred during the murder or as a result of her being thrown over the bridge? What are your thoughts? And I'm going to go through the chat really quickly just to see what you guys are thinking. Well, I know that, Q Catrice, you said they were saying that she went to a club. Well, there's been no hardcore evidence. There's been no fact of that, no surveillance videos that could put her at the club. There was a club nearby. I'll get into all of that. He was at the club, but there's been no video surveillance to put her in the club to meet him. I do know where she met him, and I'll get into that in just a second. Okay, thank you. Coco say they arrested the suspect's cousin's husband because he was here illegally. Yes, but some of the headlines are misleading because they're saying a second suspect in the Dacara Thompson murder has been arrested. So they detained him, not arrest him, in order to deport him. I just want to be technical, Okay, I want to be technical. Okay, Vanessa feels like the facial and the skull fractures may have occurred during the murder. Well, that's the thing, corporate diva, they didn't specify. Let me read it again. They said, according to the medical examiner, the chief medical examiner, which revealed skull and facial fractures, leading investigators to expect the death would be officially ruled a homicide. I would think naturally there would be some skull and facial fractures based on the impact of the throw of a 31-foot embankment, okay? Naturally. From there, the Prince George's County Police Department was notified of the discovery and matched photographs of the deceased with known images of Thompson, confirming her identity. Detectives soon began tracking her last known movements using surveillance footage and cell phone data. So according to what they have right now, the metadata did not put her in that club. Cameras captured Thompson exiting her vehicle in Hyattsville and walking toward y'all, I'm going to show you a video. Cameras were able to capture Thompson exiting her vehicle in Hyattsville and walking toward a Family Dollar store at 2020 University Boulevard, where she was seen, and they're not giving you all the details, but we're going to show it, where she was seen entering a black GMC Yukon Denali. The vehicle, later identified by Maryland registration, was traced to a residence on Cambridge Drive in Bowie. Surveillance showed that the vehicle returning to that location in the early hours of August 23rd, cellular data from Thompson's phone aligned with this timeline and showed her device remaining in that area until it deactivated around 5:03 a.m. So they were able to track her, not from 10 to 3, but to about 3 to 5. And at a particular time, When she got in that car with that predator, with that killer, she didn't just get in. She approached that car. They talked for a bit, and then she came around willfully, according to court records, and she got into the passenger seat. Now, she did not get okay, so let's go back. Actually, let me just show you. Let me just pull up the video. Give me 1 second. Now, I want you to brace yourself. Let me pull it up really quick. I thought I had it here ready to go. Just give me a couple of seconds. Because there's a lot of talk on social media, okay, about why she may have been out that late at night, outside of just getting gas. All right, let's pull up the video that I'm talking about and let the news people tell you. Give me 1 second. Okay, here we go. I'm gonna pull it up. All right, got it. Give me one. I got it. I just got to get the right timestamp. And this is not my video, but I'm going to use it. And the YouTube page that I'm pulling from is called the Dynamic Reason channel, but he was able to get a very detailed news clip that I'm going to reuse for educational purposes so that we stick to the facts of the case. We're sharing our screen. Give me 1 second. All right. Let me know when you can see my screen. And if so, we'll go ahead and get started. All right, looks like y'all can see the screen. Here we go.
Documents say that what happened to Dacara Thompson after
when we come back.
The court documents say that what happened to Dacara Thompson after she got into a car in this parking lot is both deeply disturbing and very sad. Court documents say surveillance camera video captured 19-year-old Dacara Thompson as she parked her Ford Edge SUV and made her way on foot to this parking lot behind a Family Dollar store on University Boulevard in the Langley Park area.
Are y'all paying very close attention? She parked her car on an open residential street, but then she made her way to a back parking lot behind the store. Let me run it again. Not a club.
Dacara Thompson as she parked her Ford Edge SUV and made her way on foot to this parking lot behind a Family Dollar store on University Boulevard in the Langley.
So she walked to an abandoned parking lot.
Park area. It was 3 a.m., almost 5 hours after she'd left her father's Lanham home, saying she was going to get gas in her car.
So they have not been able to verify where she was for 5 hours, but they were able to pick her up on surveillance at 3 a.m.
Court documents say video shows she approached the driver's side of a black Yukon Denali, talks to the driver for a minute, then gets into the front passenger seat. Worried family members report her missing. They find her car, but not her phone. They search relentlessly, but do not find Dacara. On August 31st, Maryland State Police troopers responding for an unrelated disease.
Okay. So was this, we don't know yet, but people are talking. People are just as interested in solving this and getting justice. Was this, what's back there? Why would a young girl go to the back side of a parking lot behind a store? How would she even know to go back there? If this is a friend, how come he just didn't pull up to her car and pick her up in the open? All right, so we're going to pick this up and continue.
Disabled vehicle found her nude body on an embankment of the South River in Annapolis. On September 4th, 35-year-old Hugo Hernandez-Mendez of Bowie was arrested and charged with Dakara's murder. He was known to drive a black Yukon Denali XL with Maryland tags. According to court documents, cell data and video surveillance confirm the movements of Thompson and the movements of that black GMC Yukon Denali are consistent with moving together. Hernandez-Mendez was arrested near a home on Cambridge Drive in Bowie, where he rented a room. Police believe Dacara Thompson was killed there. Detectives stated a roommate told them he heard the defendant in his room the morning of the 23rd having sex with a woman who, quote, did not seem to be having a good time.
All right, let me pause there. The roommate said, I heard him. I heard him having sex. And at one point, it seemed like the person was not enjoying it. That's what it said in the courtrooms. In the court record. I'm sorry. It said that it sounded like the person was not enjoying it. Remember, she was with him from 3 to 5, 2 hours. Let's continue.
At a press conference to announce the arrest, County Executive Aisha Braveboy noted the defendant was in the U.S. illegally and had recently been in federal custody.
I think that the U.S. Government has made status of individuals relevant. This was someone who was in their custody, and they made the decision to release him.
News 4 has learned Hernandez-Mendez was arrested April 25th by U.S. Park Police, stopped on the BW Parkway near Annapolis Road for a DUI. But the federal government released him till trial. The U.S. Attorney for Maryland would not comment. ICE released a statement saying the defendant was put under an immigration detainer yesterday. Hernandez-Mendez has a court hearing scheduled for Monday. In Hyattsville, Jackie Benson, News 4.
All right, so he's scheduled to, if he's not already, okay, it's East Coast time, he should be in court right now. He's scheduled for court to see the judge today for a bail hearing at 1:15 p.m. If that's correct, they are probably 7 minutes into session. Okay, let me go back through the comments to see what you all are saying. So they don't know. We know that when Helen said what they need to do is find out how long he's been in this country. Oh, you said how he found out how he got into this country. They come. But I know he's been here for a while because that traffic stop was in 2022. So we can establish he's been here at least 3 years and or longer illegally. Okay. What happened to her? Well, let's talk about it. Based on the police report and the court documents, she was murdered in that home. Now, here's the thing. Think about your house, how the layout of your house, what rooms are where. Your roommate is in the room, obviously engaged in sexual intercourse with somebody, and you can hear. So if there were a struggle, I'm sure they could hear it. The only thing that I could think of, because they heard that whatever was going on in that bedroom sexually, it seemed like one person did not enjoy it. And as a matter of fact, let me get back to my court documents to see if I can give you a little bit more detail about what the roommate reported hearing. Give me 1 second. Some of this may sound redundant, but it does have information that the news was not able to share with you. Okay. So the detectives, after finding her body on September 1st, 2 days later, they go to the house, okay, where the Bowie address where Hernandez-Mendez lives, and they did see the Denali parked in the front of the home. They go by, and a search warrant was obtained and executed the next day. During surveillance before the search, so they was watching the house. You just can't go up in there now. There's rules and regulations. So they sat back. They wanted to make sure that the surveillance video that they picked up, thank God for people with Ring cameras and everything else, that was indeed the house. Once they confirmed that after doing surveillance, before busting up in there, they saw a man leave the house and get into the Yukon. He was stopped and identified as Hugo Hernandez-Mendez. Mendez was detained and transported to the Criminal Investigation Division Homicide Unit for questioning. He waived his Miranda rights and he admitted to being in possession of the vehicle on August 23rd. That's the morning. Remember, she left on the 22nd at 10 p.m. 5 hours later, she's still not home. So now we're into August 23rd. So he did confirm, yeah, I was in the car. Okay, boom. He don't even know. He's checking off boxes. Hey, do you own a Denali? Yeah, I was at the club. Okay, boom. That was your car we saw on the camera. He did put himself in proximity to her because he stated that he had been at the Galaxy nightclub, which was noted to be across the street from where the car was last seen. So although we don't know for a fact if she went to that club or not, he was there right across the street from where she parked in that residential area. However, as they get further into questioning, now this is where it gets tricky because he denied any involvement in her disappearance, and he later requested a lawyer and abruptly ended the interview. So now we know he's lying. Well, how you know he's lying, Queen Sheba? We're about to get into it. So now he's lying. He didn't realize that he's messed up, right? We put your car there. You said you was in the car. We know you were around her, right? Because she was right across the street. Upon interviewing these residents, during the search of the Kimbridge Drive residence, detectives discovered multiple occupants, all of whom were transported for questioning. And that's why I said there's been some false reports that a second suspect has been arrested in the murder of Dacara Thompson. To my knowledge, that is not true. They were transported for questioning. Upon interviewing these residents, one resident confirmed that Mendez was the only person who operated that Denali and noted that Mendez had a drinking and a drug problem. Another person in the house, whose room was next to Mendez's, recalled hearing what they described as sexual activity around 5 a.m. on August 23rd. Listen to me very carefully. Her phone went dead, deactivated at 5:03. She was with him from about 3 to 5. Whatever was happening in that room, it woke up the roommate. And he recalled hearing what they described as sexual activity around 5 a.m. 3 minutes later, her phone is deactivated. And the resident described the noises as sounding like someone who, quote unquote, wasn't enjoying the sex. And then all of a sudden, it was followed by silence. I think what they witnessed was the actual kill. And in another outlet, what the resident went on to say is they heard grunting. I think they witnessed the kill. I just want to so watch this. I don't know. He was with her for 2 hours. They didn't hear anything until 3 minutes before her phone was deactivated. So if there were any type of sexual activity, it sounded like it was an extended period of time, and at some point something turned. Now here's where we got to talk. I know a lot of times in our communities where we lean in and we say, well, they grown. And we have a lot of instances and conversations about being liberated and free to do as you please with your body. I think it's important that you talk to your sisters, your daughters, your nieces, your aunts, whomever, and say, there are some men that are looking for a thrill, and that's sex. And although we can't stop you, you can do what you want. But then on the other side of that, there are some men where the thrill is the kill, where the thrill is the actual kill. They don't just want sex. They want your life. And you're not going to know until you know. You're not going to know until you know. I have several friends in law enforcement that sit high up. And one of the main commonalities that one of my good friends tell me about survivors is they said they weren't able to really identify immediate danger, except there was a look in his eye, and it was brief. And most of them often second guessed themselves. Yvonne is saying he turned off the phone and then unalived her. I think he turned it off afterwards. Think about what's the facts. The facts is the roommate heard something at 5 a.m. that sounds like grunting, and somebody was not enjoying what he thought was sex. 3 minutes later, according to the police report and the metadata that they were able to extract from the cell phones, the phone was deactivated 3 minutes later. 3 minutes later. So I think the deactivation of the phone was after he took her life. And I see y'all's comments. Let me finish what the witness has said, and then we're going to talk about what the police found in his room. That afternoon, the witness noticed the SUV was no longer parked outside, which was very unusual for Mendez, especially on a Saturday. So we can assume that whatever he did, and after he did it, he left the house for a great deal of time. Okay, probably searching for a way to discard the body. Inside Mendez's bedroom, detectives found suspected blood stains. Okay. Several blood stains, which tested positive during a forensics test. They also found a white and a pink fake fingernail on the floor. So there had to have ensued, what do you call it? A confrontation ensued. Wait a minute now. See, I just came to the chat. Y'all be nice to each other. Now, we try not to regulate y'all in here because everybody grown over here. Yes, Law Malcolm. Her phone was on the entire time from start to finish until 5:03 a.m. So all the time her phone was on. Yes, until 5:03 a.m., according to court documents. Now, y'all be nice to each other. Y'all can have your own opinion. We don't care. Y'all can agree to disagree, but keep it cool. Keep it player. Okay, Jasmine 23 said, I'm asking with care, is there a surveillance camera footage at a different angle when she was walking to his car? Yes, they have it, but they have not released it to us as the public. There are some details that they are not disclosing, but they said whatever happened to her after she got in that car was very disturbing. So I don't know if a confrontation ensued in the car. They said whatever happened from the moment she got in that car, from there, it was very disturbing. They're not releasing. Okay, let's talk about the bedroom, because you said, did they find anything in the bedroom? Here's what they found in the bedroom. They found blood stains. So they found blood stains. They found a pink and white fake fingernail on the floor, consistent with one missing from Thompson's left middle finger when she was found. That means when they took her into the chief medical examiner's office, the medical examiner noticed that a fingernail was missing from her left hand. Multiple pairs of women's underwear and lingerie was also discovered, which has a lot of people wondering, is this his first kill? Is this his first kill? In the trash bins outside the house, police found hair matching the wig that Dacara was wearing. So he tried to clean up as much as he could. But the roommate was up. You say, okay, well, hold on, wait a minute. How come he didn't get the fingernail? He probably overlooked it. So now you got a body in your room at 5 a.m. Your roommate is up. He was able to get the obvious things out the house, the body and the wig. If I had to guess, and I'm not, what do y'all call him? A forensic psychologist. But if I had to guess, based on the trinkets that he's kept, they call them trinkets, I would probably take a wild guess and said I wouldn't be shocked if they find out this is not his first kill. Because when you really, I hone in on the psychological and the behavioral traits of the Black experience, but just psychology, organizational psychology is my background. I have a master's in it. I focus on behavioral modification based, yes, profile. Thank you. Based on the trinkets that he's kept and what they found in the room from other women, other underwear, lingerie that seem to belong to other women, I wouldn't be surprised if he's done this before. The question is to who? Because according to police reports and court records, when they questioned him, he said he went to the club, but he said he went to go meet up with his ex-girlfriend. And they were never able to meet. Let me tell you something. I'm going to call Cap. I think he's not being honest. I think he's lying. I think he was just trying to establish somewhat of a very, very flawed alibi. I think he was fishing for his next victim. I think he was fishing, and I think he left the club empty-handed. He probably fishes at clubs. He probably picks up women from clubs. Thank you. Thank you, Indigo Girl. He goes to the clubs in search of his next victims. Yes. Mark says, of course, agreed. So that's what I'm thinking. I think he's taken several women to that home in the wee hours of the night. But here's what happened in the trash bins when the police found her hair. Oh, we were right then. We're right. They also found stained napkins, with what appeared to be blood and documents belonging to individuals who lived. Okay, so he tried to clean up his mess. There was a struggle in that room, we can assume, because they found her hair, they found her fingernail, they found blood stains. He attempted to clean it up really quick because now, shit, the roommate is up. I got to get this cleaned up as much as I can. I got to get this body out of here. And when the police searched the SUV, it revealed suspected blood evidence on the front passenger seat. Oh my God, hold on. Listen to this. A search of the SUV revealed suspected blood evidence on the front passenger seat detected through forensic testing. Either that's her blood or somebody else's. And this is why I believe the police said that what is the moment she entered into that car, disturbing things begin to happen. He could have attacked her in that car. I don't think you would just kill somebody and then put a dead body in a car at 5 a.m. and ride around. So an attack may have ensued prior to him bringing her to that residence. Y'all think this is old blood. Jamie said that's old blood. This isn't his first time. Yvette Robinson says, do you think the roommate knows something about a lot of things? Probably. Let me see Mommy Luke. They're saying, thank you, Mommy Luke. Let me see what Mommy Luke is saying, if I can find it really quick. I would think so, Mark. He possibly he knocked her out in the car. I'm going to go with that. I don't, let me say this. I think I'm going to go with what makes the most sense, right? We're just talking this out together. Women, I think you underestimate how strong men are. And some of you, that's why I say don't argue with men. Don't get physical with men. Men are 7 to 10 times stronger than you. And there is a strong possibility he could have knocked her out in the car if that is her blood. Where's Mama Duke? I can't find it. So people are agreeing with Mama, and I can't find that comment. So let me just go back. So we got hair in the trash can. We got napkins. Listen, whatever was going on in that house, he couldn't even get a towel. That means he may have had to risk the chance of passing by everybody else's room. So he went and got paper towels, tried to clean up the blood, had to get rid of her body, took her wig. They were able to find blood in the front seat, blood in the trash, blood in the room, fingernails still in the room. They have not been able to corroborate, invalidate, and or verify that she was in that club. That. Listen, she was okay. If you don't know me by now, says she was selling herself, and it wouldn't make sense to bring a body to the place of his residence. She clearly felt comfortable enough to discuss maybe the fee and get into the car next. You said if she was selling, or you saying she was selling herself? Coming in late. Okay, so I asked him. Thank you, Betty. She says, "What was your husband's opinion?" Okay, so I ran it by him. I said the roommate is claiming he didn't hear anything. He said unless he suffocated her as a man. He said unless he, covered her nose or something. So that could have been the grunting that the roommate claimed that he heard where somebody wasn't enjoying sex. And I know you came in late. What I said is the roommate probably thought that there was a sex act going on, not knowing that he witnessed an actual murder. And the grunting noise was not her not enjoying sex, but his roommate actually taking her life at 5 a.m. And 3 minutes later, her phone was deactivated. Most people are usually asleep and in their rooms at that time of morning, but you have to keep in mind what they did for a living. They're landscapers, illegals, so they get up very early in the morning, if you're familiar with the culture and the line of work. That's what I'm saying, Jenny. The roommates have to know about what this guy does. Something. Like somebody heard something. Okay. Jamie says, why park on the street and walk to the back of a parking lot? That just doesn't sound like. I agree. They did say that her mom liked a comment on social media before her body was found, before her parents and family were made aware that she was actually deceased. Someone wrote a comment on social media and her mom liked it, or hearted it, where it says, hopefully Dacara is smart enough to know that you got to be very careful of romantic relationships and some men can be dangerous. And the mom loved it. Not to say that the mom is agreeing that she's out here like that, but there was evidence that her mom did like that comment prior to the body being found. Toot is saying, I don't think she was selling herself. What do you think? Let's go ahead. We're going to play it again. You see her get out of her car. She parks in a residential area. She turns around. She uses the key fob to make sure she sets the alarm. She goes to the back of the dollar store. The police said they can see her leaning in on the driver's side. She and Hernandez-Mendez, they talk for about a minute to 90 seconds. She walks away, goes to the other side of the vehicle, gets into the passenger seat. Do you think, Jenny saying, you think he could have drugged her in the club? Well, there's no evidence of her being in the club. So we got to leave the club out of the equation just for now. Did they say? They're not going to say that as law enforcement officers. Did they say she was one of those ladies, or it's just floating in the air right now? Because there's such an extended time that her parents and her whereabouts cannot be accounted for prior to her meeting up with him. You got to remember there was a 5-hour time period from 10 p.m. to 3 a.m. that nobody knows her whereabouts, or her whereabouts have not been discussed and or released. And I don't know if the police can do that without the family's consent, right? But what they are sharing is where she met her fate with him from 3 a.m. to 5 a.m. Okay. Thank you, Braun Sugar. You seem to be familiar with the area. You say you very seriously doubt if she was in a club on University Boulevard. That whole stretch is Hispanic territory. Okay. Got it. Okay. Lilu says the roommates are lying. There we go. Peace, love, and prayers. Very sensitive. She was grasping for air. Okay, let's continue. According to what the police found. So there was blood evidence on the front seat, passenger seat of the car, and that was detected through forensic testing. Based on the totality of evidence, surveillance footage, cell phone data, witness statements, and forensic findings, investigators concluded that Thompson, Dacara, was killed in that house, in that bedroom, approximately 5 a.m. on August 23rd. They believe he then took her body and disposed of her body by throwing it off a bridge along Route 50 to cover up the crime. They said he has a prior criminal history and is residing in the United States illegally. Now, what that history is, I'm not sure because I don't have detailed records. I don't have detailed records. Let's see if I can find, hold on, some other stuff. Now, I will say new court documents reveal disturbing details in her murder case. Hold on. Let me make sure I'm looking at it's so much information out here. But different articles, different media outlets have just a little bit more that they're giving us. But they're not giving it to us all at once. So, another way they were able to identify that the body that they found on September 1st was her body is because her family met with the detectives and they were able to get the family to share photos of her, and they placed the photos of her against the Jane Doe that was thrown over the embankment, and that's how they were able to confirm through photo evidence that that was the car. Okay, here's what happened. At 3:06 a.m. she met with him, but we still don't know what she was doing between 10 p.m. and 3:06. She walked into the parking lot of a business, the back parking lot, and she approached him. What would make a 19-year-old girl feel okay about walking to the back? And I'm just thinking out loud, because to me, they're still kids, right? What would empower a 19-year-old girl who just turned 19, August 8th, feel safe enough to go to the back, not the front, where it's well lit, to the back of a store, approach a car, talk for a minute, feel safe enough to get in? Jamie said, what time did she walk away from her car? Let's see. Let me pull it right back up. Hold on. I want to make sure we get the facts. Hold on. Okay, hold on. Okay, we got some more facts. See, she walked away from her car at 3:06 a.m. The video shows her leaving her white SUV and walking from Jasmine Terrace down Riggs Road towards University Boulevard. They didn't get to his house until 3:47 a.m. Damn, that's a long time. So let me ask y'all this that live in Maryland. How far, if you can Google, because you know the address of the crime scene, if you can Google the address of the crime scene, which is his house, how far is the club from his house? That's a long drive. 40 minutes? Jasmine Terrace to the house that he resides at. Cambridge Drive. Jasmine Terrace to Cambridge Drive. She leaves her car at 3:06. They arrived at his house at 3:47. Police were able to confirm she was in that car the entire time for almost 40 minutes. Her phone he believes to be sexual activity in which one party is not enjoying it. Okay. He didn't want sex. He didn't want sex. And that's why I'm questioning if he's done this before, because they found multiple pieces and pairs of women's underwear, multiple blood stains in that room, blood stains in the front seat of the car. Either he's done this before, or the previous acts he was building up the courage to do what he did to Dacara. That's the only thing I can think of. But based on court records, it shows that he has a criminal history. A criminal history. So that's why it's important for us to have those conversations with our family, with the girls, even some of the boys. Listen, some of them are looking for a sexual thrill, and you may feel empowered to be able to make that choice as an adult. And for some of them, the thrill is the kill. So you got to be very careful. You're not going to know. Okay. Yvette is saying, I wonder, have they hooked up before for her to leave home at that time of morning? I don't know. Some of you are saying that he could have catfished her. But let's just say, when you lead in that car, because he didn't pull her in, according to the court documents, she willfully entered the front seat. Now, they're not releasing this to us. This is what the detectives have seen. They saw the engagement. They saw what happened. They saw her get in the car. And they said from the moment when she got in the car, very disturbing details happened in that car. So she could see that his face was cut. She could see if he was catfishing her, this is not who I thought you were. Thank you, Dr. Jen. Dr. Jen said, if you know that area of town, it's a ghost town during that time. Joy B says, I'm thinking she has met him there before, but she only comes to her dad's house on the summertime. So she just turned 19. She just graduated high school. She turned 19 August 8th. She graduated high school, June, July, August, 2 months before. So we would assume that hopefully her parents are not. She don't live with her dad, right? She lives with her mom. So there would be I don't know. How could she be meeting up with him in that part of town when she doesn't live with her father? And she's just at her father's house for the summer. She just turned 19 to be able to get the freedom, I would hope, to move freely about the cabin at 10, 11, 12 a.m., 1 a.m., 2 a.m., 3 a.m. We have a lot of questions. Has she met him before? Dr. Jen said nothing in Bowie is open that late. Well, does anyone know if the Hispanics are known for selling weed? Well, he's a druggie. So we know he's not selling. He's a user. The people in the house have confirmed he's a known drug user and alcohol abuser. So we know he's a druggie. Let's see what else. Brenda said bingo. Brenda, come back and elaborate about what you're saying. Bingo for. Okay. S&G 777 said it's giving either romantic relationship or illegal activity. Jasmine says, Simone, that's what I'm waiting for. Phone records, they have them. They're just not sharing with us, and I wonder why. Oh, I know what you're talking about. You want to see if there was any communication established between her and him prior to her walking around to that backside of that building in the dark to approach that car. I see what you're saying. Jenny Lee says he could have went to the stroll and found but they don't have his car on surveillance on that open street. Let's play it one more time where she parked. Let's play it one more time where she parked her car. I just want to play that versus where he parked his.
What happened to
Unless he's done it before and he knows how to stay out of view of where the cameras could be. I don't know, but that don't make no sense because they got him on surveillance in the back. Listen, a lot of people are saying something's not adding up. And that's fine. We don't need to know every detail, right? The point is she didn't deserve what happened to her. Let's watch her get out that car.
to Dacara Thompson after she got into a car in this parking lot is both deeply disturbing and very sad. Court documents say surveillance camera video captured 19-year-old Dacara Thompson as she parked her Ford Edge. Deeply disturbing and very sad. Court documents say.
So you know she's in her right state of mind because she's locking the car. But if you also notice she's parked the wrong way, you see how the cars seem to be parked the opposite way? She's parked opposite of them. She's parked the wrong way.
Surveillance camera video captured 19-year-old Dacara Thompson as she parked her Ford Edge SUV and made her way on foot to this parking lot behind a Family Dollar store on University Boulevard in the Langley Park area.
Why would she not drive her car back there? Why would she get out of her car to walk back there? She could have simply drove. I have so many questions.
It was 3 a.m., almost 5 hours after she'd left her father's Lanham home, saying she was going to get gas in her car. Court documents say video shows she approached the driver's side of a black Yukon Denali, talks to the driver for a minute, then gets into the front passenger seat. Worried family members report her missing. They find her car, but not her phone. They search relentlessly, but do not find Dacara. On August.
All right. She parks the wrong way. She walks to the back. Okay. Bowie is a college area. Okay. Okay, Jenny, that's a good one. Maybe she didn't want him to know where, but why would she get, I don't know. What are y'all's thoughts? I'm going to just go through some of the comments. She could have followed him in her own car. Why do that? He could have just pulled up. We got to go with what makes, okay. She could have followed him. Yes. Peace, love, and light. We got to go. You said that's why it feels like a meetup. Who walks that time of night? Okay. Overton feels like she didn't plan to be gone that long unless, watch this. Okay. But why? I'm still stuck on why walk back there as opposed to drive. So maybe she didn't plan on being there long. I go back there, I walk back there, I lean in. Let's just say if it were drugs, hypothetically, I give you or you give me what I need. And then he said, you want me to drive you to your car? Yeah. Where you park? In the front? I don't know, y'all. The only way we're going to get somewhat of the truth is from him. And you're not going to get the whole truth from a criminal. Yes, we were able to establish that they got to that house at 3:47 a.m. So for 40 minutes, she was inside that car until she entered the home. And then, so 3:47, let's do the math, 4:47. She was with him for an hour and 13 minutes in that house before he took her life. And police have verified that they believe the kill occurred in the house. He killed her in that house, in that room. So between that drive and 5 a.m., there was an hour and 13 minutes that had passed. Trap music says she felt like she would be right back. Okay. You know, Morshell, you may be right. You said they may have established an online relationship. You could be right. And I think what's happening is people are looking at him aesthetically and seeing that he's obviously been in a knife fight, got his face sliced, and they're saying, there's no way. Nobody would want that, but you'll be surprised. He said he had an ex-girlfriend. Paula says she's either not familiar with that area or she was told to walk to the back. How old is this guy? 35. A hard 35. Okay. Queen Tulsa said you feel like this was an exchange. Okay. Many people are sharing the same sentiment throughout different YouTube forums, throughout different social media platforms. There's some very, very strong opinions about that. Very, very strong opinions about that. Parking the wrong way makes me think she is not planning on leaving her car. Shit, I know if I'm meeting you, listen, I'm driving my car to the back. I'm not gonna get out. What would make look, most times grown women not gonna get out. So what would make an 18, 19-year-old girl get out the car? Is it a lack of living? What do y'all call it? No fear. No fear? Dang. Kat Jackson said usually when one parks the wrong way, it's for a quick stop. I think I have to agree. Miss Queen 19 says investigate. Yes. We covered that. You just coming in, Miss Queen 19? Yes, but you're absolutely correct. $1 million homes are in Bowie. Okay. I don't know, y'all. She moved with her father because she get her way with her. Oh, she didn't get her way with her mom. Her mom didn't play that. I just want to know why Emerald says, I just want to know why she got in that car. Was he threatening her? No. They watch surveillance that they have not released to the public. According to the police and the detectives, they said she willfully got in the car. Willfully. That could be true, Ty. That could be a possibility. She hadn't planned on going because there was blood found. Forensic evidence have confirmed there is blood in the front seat of a car. How could there be blood? Either it's her blood prior to her entering that home at 3:47 a.m. or it's somebody else's blood. But according to details in the court documents that they're saying that very disturbing things happened. PM Chanel says, I believe she entered the car and was kidnapped, taken back to his house and raped and discarded. Strong possibility. Okay, Jasmine. Oh gosh, y'all. Unfortunately, she lied to her dad about her whereabouts. Okay. Withholding information from her father. Thank you. The truth said this has rocked the DMV area. I'm glad her case got the exposure / attention it needed. Rest in peace. Absolutely. Darlene said she may have gone on a date, but what makes sense for a date? What date will we have dinner and you gonna go park to the back and I'm gonna park on residential unless naivety. I need them cell phone records. Trap Music said, I think it's male-female relationships. He said that? I don't believe him. Okay, you said he's saying that she tried to rob him? I think he's lying. Let me tell you why. The only reason why I think he's lying is because they found other pairs of panties in his house from women. They found blood stains in his room. They found other lingerie from women. They found blood-stained paper towels in the trash can. They found her finger. He could have just knocked her out right there, right? Let me see. I don't know. Okay, Aisha is saying, I think she's used to doing this. I feel she walked back there because she had to feel a sense of safety engaging with him. This was not the first time, in my opinion. The police has evidence. Yes, some of the evidence is not being shared with the public, unfortunately. Now, is that because of the sensitive nature of the case and we don't want to victim shame? If I'm thinking about it from a police perspective? Or is that because there's possible other victims? Like, it's just a lot. Once she got in the car, he may have threatened her so she couldn't get out. They found blood in the front seat of the car. Now, if you think about somebody that's going to take somebody's life, do you anticipate or do you see somebody putting a corpse in the front seat of the car? So if that's her blood that the forensic evidence was able to establish, he may have knocked her out the moment she got in that car. Or that's somebody else's blood and he's done this before. Dot will say, it sounds like it was meant to be just a quick meetup. He attacked her in his vehicle to subdue her, then took her to his place. Damn. Her phone records will explain the entire thing once revealed. Can y'all please send me the documents as soon as they're released? Because I'll be checking and checking. My researchers checking and checking. And listen, did she walk voluntarily in the house? That's a big question mark. Because forensics support that there was blood stains in the front seat. What would make the more sense? She was attacked in that front seat prior to going into that house. There's a strong possibility she did not walk into that house willingly and may have woken up in the middle of being violated sexually. At some point, she was up because she lost a fingernail. Thank you. Can you send that to me? Because I pulled up his court record. You said this is a registered sex offender. Here's the crazy part. Now, this is where we get into the immigration and the illegal of it all. Number one, he was arrested in 2022 for a DUI. He was released. He's a registered sex offender and has been released. He's an illegal immigrant. So that means he's had multiple run-ins with the law. Why is he still here? Who failed Dacara? Who failed Dacara? Overton says she may have planned to do something in his vehicle, then he convinced her to come back to the house, but there's blood in the front seat of the vehicle. We know he didn't have a dead corpse in the front seat. There's blood in the front seat. So he wasn't looking for sex. He was looking for a kill. We can establish that because there's blood in the front seat of the car, right? If you want sex and you have somebody who's old enough to consent, why the attack? But it could have started off like that. I see where you're going. So during that entire car ride, she didn't text anyone. No. And there's that's why I keep going back to the forensic evidence that said there was blood stains. Could he have knocked her out? That's the first one. And number two, would you text somebody if you are old enough and you said, I'm just going to go hang out for a little bit? Would there be a reason to text anybody if you're knocked out or if you don't know you're in danger? Let me not say no. So far, they have not shared that between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m. that she attempted to communicate with anybody. So far, they have not shared. Yeah, I agree. I get Sharonda. I'm going to have to go with you. We got a lot of work to do. They promote a lot of Black girls or sexy red material with twerking lifestyle. Listen. We got to have some conversations. We're very, 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 very sexualized demographic of women. We embrace it wholeheartedly and freely, not really knowing the dire consequences that could come with it if you run into the wrong person. Because remember what I said, please talk, not just to, hell, these days we want to say young girls, but we got grown women out here being very, very irresponsible as it relates to their safety and being aware of their surroundings. Sometimes there's a thrill. And, there's men that just want to have a nice time with you sexually. And then sometimes there are men where the thrill is the kill. That's it. She didn't go get gas at 3 a.m. She texted her father at 10 p.m. from inside the home, I would assume, I'm going to leave to go get gas. So she left to go get gas at 10 p.m. Most women don't go get gas at 10 p.m. If I were in my office or upstairs and text my husband, hey, I'll be back. I'm going to go get some gas. He probably would have a very adverse, what? No. Most women don't go get gas at 10 p.m., let alone 3 a.m., unless they're coming from work and maybe they are right there. They work at a hospital or something. Hey, I'm right here. But we have to go with what makes the most sense. Most grown-ass women are not leaving their house at 10 p.m. to go get no gas. I'll get it in the morning on my way to work. That's true. Simone says young people don't think like us, mature, but that's why I asked y'all, for those of you that are in the chat, when it comes to 19, 20, 21, 22, do you let them be grown in your house? Well, they grown. I can't really do nothing about it. They're grown. Are there rules and regulations in your home as it relates to your children? And once they hit a certain age, you trust them to be able to make responsible decisions. Yep, that could be. Hold on. Let me see. Somebody said, Day Rowell says, I'm a grown woman and my dad had to tell me not to get gas tonight. Well, I knew that as a woman because I know the freaks come out at night as a grown woman. And if I, for some reason, have to go, my peace be still is coming with me. My peace be still is coming with me. Damn. Yeah, I might. And then I have a car to tell me how many miles I can go. So, was there ever gas or was that just to get out the house? That's what we're trying to figure out. Did she even need gas or was that there you go, Miss Queenie. Gas was the alibi to get out and meet the guy. But what, for 5 hours, she would wait 5 hours to meet him? You got to remember, she wasn't with him until 3 a.m. There's a big gap of time that her whereabouts have not been accounted for. So gas was the alibi to get out and meet the guy. What we don't know at this time is how and why she felt comfortable. So you mean to tell me you think she just kind of hung out for 5 hours and waited until 3 a.m. until he was ready? And I'm not challenging you, but I don't know. Daryl Long, gifted queen, 5 Queen Sheba to all the memberships. Thank you. If y'all got a notification that you are now a member of this platform, make sure you thank Daryl. That's his gift to you. And the second part of the question is, can you stop them? Hell yeah, it's your house. Well, you're not going, no, you're not. Now, I can't stop you if you decide you want to go get your own apartment. But for me, if a teenage girl told me at 10 p.m. she's going, and I'm not blaming her father, let's be very clear. If a teenage boy, I may pause, but you should treat them the same way. But unfortunately, we don't. But if a teenage girl who was just 18 a couple of weeks ago, hey, 10 p.m., I'm finna go get some gas. No, ma'am. No, you're not. No, ma'am. No, ma'am. It's I get you, Jay. Joy B. Joy says, at that age, you can't tell some of them, shh, but it's your home. And that's where you're going to have to establish law and order. And how much freedom does a teenager, get in your home? I don't know. Ain't no freaking way. Bree say, not in Houston, Texas. Ain't no freaking way. And I'm real grown. I know that's right. Yeah, thank you, Rosebud. That's what I'm saying. She said it would make more sense to tell her dad that she's going to go to a friend's house than getting gas at that time of night. It's just, what do you think, Rose? What you think, Rose? Kendall the long way says, I have a young adult college student, and as long as I buy his toilet paper and food, he has rules. Yeah, so how do y'all get to the point where y'all say, well, I can't tell them nothing, they're 19. In your home? Seriously? I'm not judging, but how did the relationship get there? And I understand Softy. Softy says, I never let my daughter go out for gas at night. I would tell her, okay, let's go. See, I don't even allow them to dictate like that. You're not going to make me get up at 10. You're going to wait until the morning. Yeah, but I'm covering this case, y'all. I am going to be following this very closely. Now, let me say this. Don't be shocked if they don't give us all the details, because some of the details may not be favorable. And I can understand that if we don't get them all, because depending on how sensitive this case is, they may not want to do anything to discredit the fact of the matter is Dacara is a victim. She's a victim. A crime was committed against her by an illegal immigrant with a lengthy criminal history. But I'm going to be following it. I will follow up. And kids can be very tricky, because Softy says, well, if my daughter came in, I would say, okay, let's go get it together. Watch out that you make sure your kids don't dictate what you're doing as an adult. Because no, we're not going nowhere at 10, especially if it's unplanned or unscheduled. You don't get to, we got to be firmly planted and rooted as adults and as parents. And shit, who gives a damn if they don't like us? Because sometimes that's the risk, right? Where they'll storm, well, you're going to have to storm up out of here. Because God forbid, if anything happens, at least I'll know I put up a good fight. I did my part as a parent. You're not going nowhere this time of night. And as a matter of fact, that's just weird that you asked me. Go ahead and let me unask them keys. Let me have them keys, just so that I can make sure I get a good night's sleep. And if you decide at any time you want to walk up out of here between, as a girl, right? We're talking about at 10 or 11 just to go get gas, then you may want to consider getting your own place, because that doesn't sit right with me as a woman, because I don't even behave like that. Not because we're old fashioned. It's just I can't do that. Not on my watch. Not on my watch. It just don't feel right, young lady. Yes, Rika Morich says, this is a lose-lose situation. If she ran away, they would be blaming the parents. And now that she went out at night, I don't know if people are blaming the parents. I think it's just so sensitive. It's just a very sensitive situation. I think people have a lot of questions. Okay, if we think about that young man, Giovanni, 18. Let's do this, because me and my husband debated this, and he was with you, Mo Rich. We debated it. Rika, he said it could happen to anyone. It could happen anytime. I said, that's true. But the question is, could it have been avoided? And I don't know if it's fair for me to say that. But when we think, I don't know, it's fair for me to ask, because that's just us talking in the privacy of our homes, right? When you think about Giovanni, the 18-year-old that just came up dead in Florida, whose mom agreed because he was very persistent about going to meet his dad's side of the family. 20 minutes into the ride, he's dead. He jumps out the car. A few minutes later, he's dead. They picked him up at 1 a.m. They picked him up at 1 a.m. in the morning. Could it have? So that's when you start to have these private discussions, right? As parents and as adults, and even, I don't know, if young adults, you say, damn, it could happen to anybody. Yes, it can. In situations that are completely out of your control. Let me ask you this. Just saying 08 says, how do you knock someone out and drive? That's what we were talking about. And I'm not sure if you just pulled up, but listen, one thing we talked about for women to know, you got to be careful. I know we live in a society where everybody's liberated, freedom this, I can do this, I can do that, I can go out I can do what I want to do, especially women. A man is 7 to 10 times stronger than you. That's like killing a mosquito for a man to punch you with the right amount of force. So how can you knock somebody out and drive at the same time? Ask a man, just punch you. You gonna go to sleep, knock you out and continue to drive. You're probably leaned over as if you're asleep. Nobody would ever suspect anything 3, 4, 5 in the morning. Nobody would suspect a thing. Hell, y'all saw that boy, Ray Rice, is that his name? The football player that knocked his baby's mama out in that elevator and drug her body like she was a rag doll. Ray Rice, was that how many years ago? Knocked her smooth out cold. What was his name in the elevator? They caught it on. He knocked her unconscious. Shar said that didn't even make sense to me because he didn't even know those cousins. And look, he was able to text his mom in the car. 2 texts. Mom, period, help. And then as more and more details came out from the 18-year-old that left home at 1 a.m., right? He asked them to pull over. According to them, because once they're gone, we don't know their side of the story. So according to the quote unquote cousins, he asked them to go to the bathroom a few minutes into the ride. Then he got back in a car, according to them, and started to behave erratically and said that he was the demon. And we don't know. So all we have to do is go off of their word now. They were able, thank God for the surveillance tapes. They had to go back and comb through, right? Digital evidence. And they saw him running frantically across the freeway for his life. If you pull up the video surveillance, down at full speed, arms flailing, headed into an embankment, not knowing it was an embankment, a small body of water. Ray Rice, thank you, Daryl. It's very easy for a man to knock a woman out, which is why when I see social media of these women getting into these verbal altercations with men, I'd be like, what are you doing? That's like you hear men say it take 100 of them to fight one gorilla. What are you doing? That is a gorilla to you, my love. And I don't care how much experience you have throwing hands. The smallest man could put you to sleep. That's why it says 7 to 10 times stronger than you. The smallest man, if he wanted to, could throw a haymaker and knock you out. And that's why it's so important to have very in-depth discussions with our young girls. Listen, we don't get in arguments like that. No, ma'am. Okay. Hold on. So Law Malcolm is saying that she met up with him 7.5 weeks ago. Is this a fact? Can somebody send me the articles? Because if so, we'll go over it right now. Yes, that was a former Baltimore Raven. Yes. They still have that video evidence out of there for the young lady, for the lady that asked, how can you knock somebody out? Real easy. Yeah. Her mom says she was an introvert. I don't know. Cause I've seen social media. Um, I don't know. But you know what? I can understand why her mom is saying that. Cause yeah, we allow these kids to go upstairs and go in them rooms and close the doors and they don't talk to you, but they'll talk to the world. If the video evidence that I've seen of people just kind of remembering her and who she was and so full of life did not give introvert at all. She was very lively, very social, very outspoken. But I can understand how a parent could say my child is introverted, especially if they walking through a house and not talking and have their head down playing on those cell phones. I get the yanking cell phones, not physically. Hey, listen, put it up. Now, either we're going to go to dinner, you asked to go out to dinner, but what we not going to do is play on the cell phones. And I know, y'all, oh, well, they teenagers, child. Do you want this crab leg or not? Don't have me out here because I could stay at home, baby. I could eat crab at home. But what we not going to do, and it happens, but a lot of times as parents, can we talk? Y'all be scared of those kids. And you want to be their friends and you don't want them mad at you because it's too much trouble to fix it. So you let them have their way and you say, oh, that's what kids do. No, that's what kids do in your house. My son, a couple of weeks ago, he came downstairs. I could tell something was wrong with him. He didn't verbalize, but I could tell something was wrong. But in my head, I'm like, there's really not a reason for something to be wrong. He was very he just shut down. I say, you good? Yeah, I'm good. I let him go back upstairs for a little bit because he's 16, right? You want to make sure you give them a safe place. But then I said, hey, come here. What's up? Because you walking around not talking. Oh, I just get like that sometimes. I don't like to talk. I said, well, who the hell up there talking to you? Because you up there by yourself. Who the hell up there is talking and bothering you? And I said, let me tell you something. It's okay to not want to talk, but ain't nobody up there bothering you. Nobody's up there. So what we don't do is we don't program each other to not talk in this house. You up there unless you talking to yourself, because I know damn well I ain't been up there talking to you. So who up there talking that you don't feel like talking to? All right. So what we gonna do? We're gonna watch a movie together. Go put on your PJs. He went upstairs. I told my husband, we going up there. We going up there. And it wasn't to force him to talk, but it was to let him know that we see you, we love you. And even though you're not ready to talk, having a bad day does not mean shutting down. Having a bad day does not mean a separation from your family. And guess what? We went up there and stayed up there about 3 or 4 hours. He watched a movie with us. I let him play with his phone. But the point is, we are here. We're going to rally around you. Teenagers do have bad days. But I got to teach him how to cope and what to do. Because you can't shut down at work when you become a man. You can't shut down in a marriage should you choose to get married. You can't shut down from your kids. So this is what it feels like to push through. I didn't say that. I role modeled that. And I had to get my husband on board because men are different. They parent complete. He's like, oh, he cool. He'll be all right tomorrow. We don't know that. I say, he been like that all day. Let's just go upstairs. Let's just go up there. I said, these kids these days, you don't know. They so fragile. You don't know what's been going on. Who broke up with who? You don't know. So we going up there. And we went up there. We went out there. No, you ain't shutting down in this house. Now, you can have some quiet time, but you ain't finna train me as a grown woman and as your mom, your stepmom, to shut down in this house. I don't give kids the leadership role. I take it. And I lead with love, but also with a strong hand. So you cannot be afraid to say, open this door. Hold on now. You've been in this room for 2 days. You ain't talked to nobody. You coming in and out. You getting food. You texting. You talking about you leaving at 10 or 11. Hold up. And they do it. Because he's come to me many times. You need me to do anything before I go? Excuse me? Where you going? To the Y. How old are you? 16. Okay. I tell you what, when you learn who the adult is, I say, you don't tell me, do I need you to do anything? I appreciate you asking. But are you asking me? Or are you telling me? Okay, go figure it out. Because I don't want to take your dignity as a young man, but you don't ever tell me you're leaving. You can ask me if you can go. Can I go? I said, call your dad. Ask your dad. But I get it. It's easier to let them go to keep the peace. But I'd rather give a little pushback and have you here than to say I shoulda, woulda, coulda. And one time, a Uber came to pick him up, and I was like, typically I'm okay. And I don't know why I said this. And I looked out the door. I said, you're going to the Y. It's 2 miles down. But if he try anything with you, you tear his motherfucking ass up. Excuse my language. That's what I said. I said, you tear him up and we'll deal with the consequences later. I don't know why I said that. Because certain Uber, I'd be like, I just said it. You tear, and he can fight too. I said, you tear him up. You hear me? I said, I don't know, but I go with my instinct, and that's how I talk to children. You tear his ass up, and I will fix it later. And call me when you get to that Y. And he called me. Look, I think that Uber may have picked up my energy. That was the quickest Uber ride. He got there in 6 minutes. You can't be afraid of your children. If it means them not talking to you, they'll be okay. Take them keys. Too much is happening. Thank you, Rosa. Too much is happening. And they push back, and they're strong, and they're bold, y'all. They're very bold. They're way different. And that's our fault because we have not established consistent, dominant, positive leadership in the home. We're too tired. We're working. We're chasing this. We're chasing that. And it's like, shoot, just let them go, child. I don't feel like arguing today. I do. What? I do. Because we're going to love you down over here. We're going to protect you over here. We're going to do all of that. But nah, you can't go today. And every now and then I told my husband, tell him no sometimes. Not to be mean. Let him take some losses as a young man. He's a good kid. I know he is. But every now and then throw a monkey wrench and tell him no. Let him see what it feels like to lose. Let him clean up all of that upstairs. When we hear that music, oh, he wants something. I can smell bleach. He wants something. That's fine. Great kid that I know of. But when he comes down, every now and then tell him no. Not just like that. Tell him it's a family day. We're going to relax today. You want him to take a mental break, disconnect from the world so that he can get used to hearing no. Deborah said, damn, you must have been raised in my house, Queen. Listen, I don't play with kids, but I love them real hard, but I don't play with them. And I could tell sometimes he does not like what I say and how I do it, but I'm always respectful to children. I don't curse them out. I don't call them out of their names. I give them the utmost respect. I see them as people. But I could tell he did not like it one time because I could hear him throwing the dishes around hard while he was washing them. And I would yell, stop doing that. You're going to break something. And then after the third or fourth time, it occurred to me, he knows he's going to break something. That's the goal, mommy dearest. So I got up and I went in the kitchen and I touched him firmly. And I said, you good? And he looked, he said, yeah, I'm good. I ain't had no more problems with him washing them dishes hard. Kids, it's a constant psychological engagement, and they're very resilient, and they can wear you out at times. And I find myself surrendering sometimes because I'm like, damn, I'm tired. But you got to put your foot down. You have to. There's been times that he's gone on with me to do in property preservation. I'm meeting up with contractors in abandoned homes. We're doing walkthroughs. Guess what I say? Here's my gun in my purse. This is how you work it. If some shit go down, you all right? If some shit go, I don't know this man. We're here on business. But I'm a lady, and he probably looks at you as a little boy. Here's the gun. Here's how you operate it, okay? Don't worry about me. You take care of you. I have those talks. Some people be like, oh, you no, shh, baby. Listen, we going up in this abandoned house to assess this situation. We meeting with strangers. We don't know. It ain't nothing. So this is what we got. This is how you work it. And you go to work if you need to. Period. Or one time I told him, God forbid, because nobody thinks anything could happen to them, right? One time I told him, or God forbid, if something bad happened to him, I don't know this man. You take off running. And not that I'm anticipating anything, but you got to arm your kids with knowledge. You run. I said, you can run fast. I'll be good. We was good. You know what I'm saying? He be looking at me like, whoa. Yes, Miss Sugar Sweet, a constant psychological engagement is a word when dealing with children. Yes, as long as they're under your roof. Constant psychological engagement, whether it's them talking to you or going, what do they call it? Ghosting you in your own house. And it happens, and you can't be afraid of it. Yes, Hyra, you're absolutely correctly. Hyra says, does not the brain mentally develop into maturity until age 25? Psychologically and scientifically, so sad. Yes, absolutely. Y'all, that's all we got on this. We're gonna follow this very. No, never, ever. Let me tell you why. Because I told him first. And let me tell you how I did it. Thank you for asking. You said, Queen, has he never told you that you're not his mother? Never. Never. And I grew up. I didn't come from a perfect background. I don't know how y'all were raised. I didn't come from a perfect background. I came from a loving one, but not a perfect one. So I had already mapped out in my head in my 20s how I wanted my home to feel. And one thing I wanted my home to feel was love, laughter. Everybody that comes to my house said, number one, I've never slept so good the way I've slept in your home. Number two, it's very quiet here. It feels so good here. Thank you. Number three, when he was little, I've been engaged with him ever since he was a little boy, and he used to act out. Now, his behavior, he never said, you're not my mother, but his behavior was giving, you not my mama. So I sat him down one day and I said, I understand that I'm not your mom. That's why he was able to never tell me that, because I said it first. I understand that I'm not your mom, okay? And I look very different from your mom. And that's okay, because you only have one mom. Your mom is always your mom. Your dad is always your mom. I'm your stepmom. And there's a lot of love in this house, and you don't have to fight for it, okay? And if you want to have alone time with your dad, you can do that anytime you get ready. And that's why he's never said that to me. But I did say this, I'm your friend, and I can be more than your friend if you want me to. I don't make boys, and he just listened. He's like 8, just looking at me, listening. I said, but let me ask you something. When your friends tell you something, do you listen to them? Yep. I said, then I'm your friend, so you have to listen to me. That's it. You have to listen to me. I didn't do all that. Do you hear me and all that? I don't do all that with kids. I don't do all that. I love on them. Jasmine, you're welcome. She says, thank you, Queen Sheba. Your channel is helping me to grow. Now, I do get down and dirty. Every now and then I'll tell him, he's a teenager now. I say, hey, listen, bro, you got to pick up the dog poo or we finna throw hands in the backyard for real, for real. I joke like that every now and then because now he's older now. I'm like, bro, I asked you 3 times to pick up the dog poo. Next time we throwing hands in front of everybody, the neighbors, and I'm gonna win. He'll laugh. Okay, I'll get it. A couple of times I've asked him to do something. He's been like, I'll be back. I asked you to do it now. I'm the adult. Don't tell me you're going to be back. You're going to go take a shower. You're going to do it now. And he'll come back. But I don't get the fussing and the cussing. There you go. Tulsa said, I needed this. I had to have a conversation with my teenager yesterday. And you may have to go back and give a little bit of love today if you feel like you were a little bit too sharp. Oh, yeah, I'd be threatening to throw him. I'd be like, bro, he can fight. I said, we can go outside right now in front of the neighbors, but always in a joking way. I said, I'm going to tear you up in front of them. Y'all, come on now. No woman in her 40s can't do nothing with no teenager. He laughs. I don't violate his privacy. I don't go through his phone. I'll take the phone. Hey, you're going to have to give me that phone. He'll pause. I said, no, I'm not going to violate your privacy, but I need that phone. When can I get it back? When I say so. Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it. You're so respectful. Look at you. Thank you. Rosa said, I love these conversations. And you really got to take back your power with your kid. But you got to be sure yourself as a parent. And if you still got some stuff that you're trying to work out, it's not going to land well. A lot of it is seeing them as a human being. As a human being. You only remind them of your power when you need to. Other than that, hey, you're a young adult. Your job is to live well in this house. Have a good time. Let me be the adult. Let me be the adult. You just be a kid and enjoy the fruits of my labor. You were blessed. When I look back, you were reckless. Wow. Were your parents afraid of you? The DR and the fam. Does that mean the Dominican? The doctor and the fam. Okay. It took me a second. Dad's house. Malik is in the second arrest. Somebody send me that. I don't think so, Malik. We covered that. Somebody may have been detained to be deported, but I don't think they have a second suspect. I've looked. Oh, it's happening now? Can somebody send it? Can somebody send it? Thank you, Malik. Let me see. Can somebody send me a link really quickly? Let me look. It's happening now. Well, I could come back tonight, right? Let me come back tonight. We can come back tonight, y'all. That'll give me time to do ample research. Hold on. I don't see anything. Let me type in second arrest. No. Not yet. I don't see anything. Do y'all see anything about a second arrest, a second suspect? I don't. I know somebody's being held to be deported, but I don't know if they've identified somebody that helped him kill her. Let me go back to see what y'all are saying. No. Okay. She only weighed 90, thank you, 95 pounds. He messaging you, slamming him this. Listen, Queen, yes, Aisha, especially boys. Yeah, she was very small, very small, very small. Okay, if anybody sees anything, I know there's a lot going around, but I don't see anything. Philly girl say, I'm not about to be afraid of nothing I birth. All right, that's all we got so far, you guys. I don't want to hold you any longer. No, no, no. Go on. We're okay. You say Tisa tells. I don't have a problem with Tisa, but we go on facts over here. We go on facts over here. Go find it and tell me if you can find it. Go tell me if you can find it. We've been looking since yesterday. There is no second suspect based on court records. Based on court records so far, there is not a second person that they have identified that has helped. Y'all gotta stop. Listen, y'all gotta do your anything that we report, you can find it. You can look to see if it's a fact or if it's entertainment. Now, Malik, you just pulled up. We done already went over this. Malik, it's all over. You can go find it. It's public record. They have not arrested a second suspect that has been confirmed by law enforcement. Thank you. My researcher is here. We do ample research. And according to my researcher, only one suspect has been charged, Hugo Hernandez Mendez. He's 35 of Bowie, Maryland. He is facing first and second degrees. Only one. We gonna keep y'all right. Now we're gonna keep y'all right over here. Now, any other stuff you want to add, you can add on your own. But as far as over here, we're gonna get y'all the facts. So the other person that's being detained to be deported was the husband of his female cousin because he's also here illegally. But law enforcement has not stated that he is a suspect in the murder. I just want to make sure y'all ain't in these chats getting blocked. I make sure y'all ain't getting blocked. Oh Lordy. What'd you say? They are already calling Hugo Mendez, Maryland, man 2.0. Somali, now look, Somali gonna keep it. She gonna let you know what the facts are. Thank you, everybody. Yeah. Well, no, the vehicle was not registered in his name. The vehicle is registered in the female cousin's name, but he's the only operator of the vehicle. So she got it in her name, which may give some truth to what y'all have been saying. Y'all knew something in this house because y'all knew enough to register that vehicle in her name and not his name. It happens, girl. Listen, traveling GMA. If you understand this culture, Latin culture, baby, there could be a whole house, 13, 14 people. It's very normal. But I understand not murder, but to harbor people that haven't established their immigration status yet. Court documents quoted in the press only mention Hernandez-Mendez as a person of interest, the driver of the black Yukon Denali, and the individual tied to the Bowie residence where investigators believe the murder occurred. Thank you. Yes, Lisa. Girl, that took me out. She says, I can't get over the people that this demon was living with. We heard noises that sounded like, no, they said she was not enjoying the act. Yet they did nothing. That sounds like grape to me, but do nothing. He said he heard, well, do the replay. Yep. Yeah. Lisa, they heard something because there's multiple pairs of women's underwear. There's blood in the front seat of the car. Somebody knows a little bit more All right, that's all we got. All right, thank you, everybody. I'm gonna let y'all go. I gotta get ready for party in the chat tonight. We're gonna do party in the chat tonight. We're gonna do party in the chat tonight. So that's what we have: a cocktail, a glass of wine. I don't know what I should talk about for party in the chat. Something light. Something a little messy. Real quick. What should we cover for party in the chat? We do party in the chat every Monday night, 7:35 p.m. Central Standard Time. We have a time over here. Men, okay, you want me to talk about men? Thank you, Corporate Diva. They said they want me to talk about y'all men and y'all's whole shit. Okay, we can do that. Child. Okay. Y'all want me to talk about Martell Holt. The men. Okay. Let me write down. Y'all want men? They mad at y'all on a Monday. It's raining men on Monday. Hallelujah! It's raining men. You think so? You're saying the roommate was with her, but the police didn't say that because they have their surveillance. You believe the roommate was with him when he picked her up. Okay. Hold on. They want me to talk about men. Let me see. I don't watch their live, Millardette. I don't watch Arion like that. Let me see. And then now don't make me do all the work. If some you want me to cover, you got to send it. That saves me a lot of time. Will there be a featured hoe? We can go about 2 or 3 of them on the thumbnail. Kendra, will there be a featured hoe? Let's see. Y'all are messy. Who's the hoe of the week? It just depends on what y'all send me. All right. I'm out of here. I gotta go. I never said that. DG, you gotta retract that. Redact that. You ain't never heard me say what I will and won't cover. Because I don't let y'all know my business like that. You said I thought this was a bird-free zone. No, ma'am. See, y'all be on too many channels and y'all forget who is where and who does what. No, ma'am. I don't even put subscribers in my business like that. I don't make no announcements like that. I am a content creator. What y'all want to say about Yandy and Rashida? Yes, they detained another person. Yep, Rhonda, you're absolutely correct. All right, I keep saying I'm gonna go. You know, thank you. You say you don't want your privileges revoked. Yes. No, I'm just making a correction publicly. You have a good memory. Yvette Robinson says, Queen, have you ever talked about that? Yeah. I can. Yes. I'll cover a little bit of that because I do want to talk about Chloe tonight. I want to talk about Chloe allowing a 28-year-old boy to tell her what she can and can't do for her son. So you know what? I got it. I'll see y'all tonight. Party in the chat. Bring a cocktail. All right, y'all. Have a good day.